Welcome everyone to the today's topic. Today we would be discussing about some other cloning vectors apart from plasmids. The main topic of today's discussion would be bacteriophage as cloning vectors. The main learning objective of this lecture is you will be getting to understand what are bacteriophages, what are their life cycle, how they replicate, how we can use bacteriophage as cloning vectors, and what are their different types or improvised types. After the end of this lecture, you will be getting to understand a detailed mechanism of life cycle and genome of bacteriophages and how they were basically modified so that they can be used as cloning vectors in the genetic engineering based experiments. So, starting with the introduction part, first of all, we need to understand what are bacteriophages. Basically, bacteriophages are the viruses that specifically infect the bacteria. As the name suggests, bacterio, that means these are those phages that have the ability to infect a bacteria. So the viruses that specifically infect the bacteria, and during their infection, when they infect it, what they do, they inject their genome, or you can say the phage DNA is inserted inside the host cell where it undergoes replication, and they multiply inside the host cell, and after that they spread their infection to the nearby cells also. So the phages are quite simple in structure. If you talk about their structural features, their structure is very similar. They have a DNA molecule and which basically possess many genes that are necessary for phage replication. That means whenever a phage infects a bacteria and inject the DNA, that DNA has to be replicated. For the replication, the genes that are necessary that are present onto the phage DNA molecule. However, this phage DNA, it is surrounded by a capsid. Capsid, it is made up of proteins. It is a protein coat that surrounds the genomic DNA. So if you talk about the types, there are two types of phages depending upon the structural differences. One is head and tail phage, that is lambda phage, and another is filamentous phage. Head and tail phage, in which there would be one head in which the genome would be present, and that head is basically consisting of a capsid, and there is a small tail that is known as lambda phage. There is one filamentous phage for which the example is M13 phage. Now the point is, on the basis of structure there are two types. Now the point is, on the basis of infection cycle, there are two types of cycle, the life cycle that phages mostly undergo. That is, one is lytic, this is lytic, another is lysogenic. First of all, we need to understand what is lytic and what is lysogenic. Lytic means, as the name suggests, there must be some lysis. The lytic word is basically derived from lysis. So the infection cycle of this phage is only completed and it is completed very quickly when the new phage particles are basically released due to the bursting of host cell. Whenever a host cell is burst, the host cell is bursted out and it releases new phage particles, that means that very phage has undergone the lytic cycle, and this process is very rapid. If it is rapid and the host cell is bursting, then the phage is undergoing lytic cycle. On the other hand, the another cycle is lysogenic phage. Lysogenic phage means when the phage DNA, when it is inserted inside the host cell, what it does, it gets integrated into the bacterial DNA. And when it gets integrated into the bacterial DNA, then it is known as prophage, or you can say, suppose this is the bacterial genome. This is a complete bacteria. Here it was phage. It injected its DNA. This DNA would be integrated over here inside the host genome. Then this integrated part is known as prophage. This This type of cycle is only followed by few phages that have the capability to undergo the lysogenic cycle. And what happens once it gets integrated, this prophage stage is very stable. After so many divisions, they basically gets assembled and they further get released from the host cell by the lysis. For example, lambda phage. That means whenever the lambda phage is undergoing lysogenic cycle, you can say the lysis of the cell will be occurring after a very long time. That means the cycle would be prolonged in case of lambda phage if it undergoes lysogenic cycle. But in case if M13 phage is undergoing this cycle, they do not form prophage. However, the new phage particles will be continuously assembling. It will take some time, but they will be released out of the host cell without the lysis of host cell, because it would be completely following the different pathway, that is rolling circle mechanism. For example, M13 phage. So the first we would be discussing about what are lambda phages. First of all, what is the size? This is the lambda phage actually. This is the head and this is the tail. These are the tail fibers as you can see in this structure. This is the main head part into which this is the DNA and this is the capsid. This is the tail part, this one, and these are the tail fibers which are something like this. So the size of this lambda phage is 49 kb in size, and most commonly we use this as cloning vector because all of the genes that are sometime related towards the replication or the function or further assembling, they are basically assembled in the form of cluster. Basically that means they are these all genes that are necessary for the replication and assembly, they are clustered at one region, and these genes, that means they will be switching on and off in a group rather than individually. That means whenever the DNA replication is to be started, all the genes would be switched on, all the genes would be start expressing, and when the DNA replication has to stop, all the genes would be off. Second, the linear double-stranded DNA molecule, this double-stranded molecule, or you can say the genome of lambda phage, it has a stretch of 12 nucleotides at both the ends. That means this DNA, the genome of the lambda phage, it contains sticky ends or cos sites at both the ends so that it can be linearized. So before the insertion into the bacterial genome, because of these sticky ends bring about the circularization of this genome when it get inserted into the bacterial genome so as to form a prophage. Another very important role of these host sites is to the formation of large number of lambda DNA molecule by rolling circle mechanism, by the catenin formation. That means this lambda phage cloning vector, when you want to use this lambda phage as cloning vector, at that time this head and tail phage, because it is having a very large genome that is of 49 kb in size, there are two lifestyle mode. That means it can directly undergo lytic cycle, which is a replicative mode. That means once it is injected inside the host cell, it would be replicating, then it would be assembling. After assemblage, it would be released. Second is lysogenic, which is a latent mode. Why we are calling it as latent mode? Because the time cycle or the time span would be prolonged, because the DNA would be integrated inside the bacterial genome. After so many division, it would be released after the lysis. So this large genome, because of the large genome of this 49 kb size, the total DNA that this lambda phage can hold is up to 52 kb. That means we can insert only 3 kb segment because of its large genome size. Because of that, because all of these things can't be packaged into the inside the head of the phage, because there is a limit that it can accommodate only 52 kb of DNA only, or it can package the DNA of 52 kb size. 49 kb is already the genome of phage. So that means the left out part is only 3 kb. That 3 kb insert size is very short. or you can say for the cloning purpose, this insert size is not acceptable. So this, for this very reason, there were many modifications. Many modifications were done in the genome of lambda-phage also, so that it can be used as cloning vector for large insert size. First, the phage has more than one recognition sequence for almost all the restriction endonucleases. That means we can use any kind of restriction endonuclease if you want to insert any kind of gene. Despite many of the disadvantages that it can accommodate only 3 kb of size, lambda phage was modified in such a way that it can accommodate large fragments that around 5 kb to 25 kb in size. Now the point is high. How? Now this was the lytic and lysogenic cycle that I was talking about, that infection is happening. After that, it is injecting the DNA. Here the DNA is injected, then the repression is happening, circularization is happening, transcription and replication, assembly and packaging. Here it is lysis. This is the complete lysis cycle. This one is the lysogenic cycle in which it will get integrated. Here, because of the integration, after many cellular replication, it would be induced, it would be again excised from the bacterial genome, and the same lytic cycle would be proceeded. Now, how we can basically, modify these lambda phages so that large DNA inserts can be accommodated. So if you think about it, the total genome size we are talking about around is 49 kb. Here you can see there are two restriction sites, EcoR1. Now what you have to do, suppose into this complete 49 kb genome, there is a region of 15 kb, central region of genes in the genome of 15 kb size that are not necessary for replication. So what we do, we will excise this segment. As you can see, this is the left arm, this is the right arm, this is the 15 kb size, and we have written it is not necessary for lambda RNA replication. However, all of these arms, they basically contain the genes that are necessary for the replication, but they are not necessary for the packaging. So what we can do, we can remove this segment and we can take the same insert size with the DNA to be cloned, and we can cut with the same EcoR1 enzyme, because the same EcoR1 restriction site is present over here, so that we can have a complementary sticky ends. So we have the complementary sticky ends here. This 15 kb size is, just a moment. This is the 15 kb suitable size for packaging ligation with the arms, and we can basically, after excision of this 15 kb segment, we can insert our DNA, and packaging of DNA in lambda particle using proteins and enzymes from lambda infected E. coli can be proceeded. And what is happening now, because we have excised that 15 kb segment, so we can accommodate now large DNA insert. In the previous section when we were discussing, I was saying only 3 kb size can be accommodated, but that means we can increase the insert size by removing one of the part that is not necessary for the replication. As you can see, this is basically the complete arrangement of genes. There is a cos site. These are left region, this is the right region, right cohesive end. What is happening here, cos site is present at the end, short 12 base pair sequence that I was talking about, that is necessary for the circularization of this molecule after infection. This left arm, basically this left arm is responsible for structural genes that are necessary for head and tail formation. This central region, as you can see, left region, this is for head, this is for tail. There is a central regions in which genes for lysogenic growth and recombination or insertion of bacterial genome is present. Onto the right arm, genes involved in the DNA replication and lytic growth is present. That means we require only 30 kb of genome that we require for the lytic growth. That means by removing rest of the portion that is not necessary, we can clone around 19 kilobase pair of foreign DNA. And we can, by using this technique, the packaging efficiency of can be increased to 78 to 100% of the, in case of lambda genome. Now, the problem of packaging and the insert size is discussed till now. Now, the point is how and what are the different types of phage lambda cloning vector. That means whenever we want to use lambda phages cloning vector, we can use engineered version of bacteriophage lambda that can further infect the E. coli. The central region that I was talking about of around 15 kb size, it would be cut with the restriction enzyme and that digested DNA is inserted. Then the DNA is packaged into the phage heads to form the virus particles. Then phages with the both ends of lambda chromosome and a 37 to 50 2 kilobase pair insert replicate, then it can replicate inside the E. coli after the infection. Phage replication by using E. coli, then it will be following the Lytic cycle and it will be able to produce large number of 37 to 52 kb of cloned DNA. Similar to type of plasmid vectors, large number of restriction sites are available that I have previously discussed. That for one restriction endonuclease, there are many restriction sites. That means we can basically use range of restriction endonuclease enzyme. That is why this is the reason, because of the large restriction sites available for different restriction enzymes, the lambda phage cloning vectors are very useful for large DNA segments cloning than as compared to the PUC19 plasmid vector in which we have inserted the lag Z region. So, but bacterial transformation with recombinant lambda phage is very ineffective. That means whenever you transform a bacteria with such a recombinant lambda phage, in that case, the efficiency is not so high because the DNA can be packaged into the phage particles in vitro also. As you can see, there were cos sites, they were present. These are the cos sequences. And when it is being packaged, the main problem is of packaging. So what is happening? Suppose this is the phage gene, this is the head precursor. The major capsid protein is a product of gene E. We require that. We need to have a concatemeric DNA. That means it shall have cos site regions. Then product of gene D is included in the capsid also, so that this complete concatenated DNA is enclosed inside this mature phage. Suppose these are the phage genes. Here this very region will code for the assembly proteins because we require the product of different genes. The induced lambda lysogen, that means whenever the lambda phage is integrated inside the E. coli genome, at that time due to the mutation it must produce lambda tail, it must produce protein D that is necessary for the capsid formation, assembly proteins, but protein E is not formed, so that is why pre-heads are not formed. However, the induced lambda lysogen BH2690, there are different variants or different E. coli strains that we can basically use. If we use different E. coli strain, in that case, lambda tails are also produced, pre-heads are also formed, and assembly proteins are also formed. So we can basically construct the lambda phage genome in such a way that on one hand we are having all these genes, and on other hand the head problem is solved, because in this case the head is not formed but the head is formed here. So we can lyse both these strains and we can have the cos sites also. As you can see here, this DNA would be forming head, it would be forming tail, it would be forming assembly proteins, and it would be forming capsid proteins. So the packaged phage particles, such type of packaged phage particle would be quite infectious. So such type of recombinant lambda is basically prepared in the laboratory so that the transformation efficiency can be increased. So whenever we use such kind of infective lambda phage, the infection process is 1,000 times more efficient as compared to the transformation when we perform with the plasmid vectors. Just like we normally go for the screening with plasmid vectors, in that case we observe for the colonies. That means 10 is for 6 transformed colonies per microgram of plasmid vector is obtained. But in case of bacteriophage, instead of colonies, plaque formation is there. As you can see, there are clear zones over here. These are known as plaques. So 10 raised to power 9 plaques per microgram of recombinant lambda factor can be obtained. That means the packaging and the infection cycle is quite efficient. That is why we are able to have large production of the cloned DNA. So as to further improvise the bacteriophage vector, there were many strategies that were used. For the construction of the cloning vector, the non-essential region between the position of 20 to 35 base pair, that means the 15 base pair region was removed so that we can have an 18 kilo base pair to 19 kilo base pair of new DNA can be inserted. By the in vitro mutagenesis experiment and by the natural selection, one or two restriction sites are also removed. For example, in case of EcoR1, because there are many restriction sites of EcoR1. Now, depending upon that, there were two major types of vectors that were constructed. One was insertion vector, second was replacement vector. First of all, we would be discussing about insertion vector. In this vector, what is happening? The non-essential region of 15 base pair is deleted, and the two arms, left arm and right arm, they are ligated together. So because of that, the vector will possess one unique restriction site. By using this strategy, two type of insertion vectors are designed. One is lambda GT10, this one. Another is lambda ZAP11. This lambda GT10, it can clone up to 18 kilo base pair of new DNA, which you can insert by digestion with the EcoR1 site located in the C1 gene. On the other hand, in the lambda ZAP11, in this vector, the insert size can be increased up to 10 kilo base pair can be inserted into any of the 6 restriction sites present in the polylinker region. Polylinker region means in which many restriction enzymes recognition sites are present, and we can basically use this polylinker region by the inactivation of LAG-Z gene of the vector. Another type of vector is replacement vector. Now, in this case, the vector will use two recognition sites for the restriction enzyme. However, in the insertion vector, we were using only one restriction site. Here, the two restriction sites would be used, and these sites will replace that segment of DNA. The replaced segment of DNA would be known as stuffer segment from the vector genome by the DNA to be cloned. Or you can say the fast DNA genome would be cut from both the ends. It would be removed. That removed segment would be known as stuffer segment, and in place of that stuffer segment, new DNA would be cloned. So because of this strategy, this vector can accommodate large pieces of DNA as compared to the insertion vector. This is more useful in the genetic engineering experiment. And the example is lambda EMBL4. It can accommodate up to 20 kilo base pair of DNA because we are completely removing the region. This is the main thing that I was talking about. Left arm and right arm. Left arm is required for head and tail proteins. Right arm is required for DNA synthesis, regulation, and host lysis. So this is the left arm, this is the right arm. This is the central stuffer segment, and here are the restriction sites which are shown. You can use either of the restriction enzymes so as to replace it. At this deleted central region is required for integration and excision and regulation. So this would be removed, this part. It would be removed by cutting with the different restriction enzyme. So until this, there was lambda bacteriophage as cloning vector. Now is M13 phage. M13 phage, the genome size is quite short, quite small as compared to the lambda phage. Lambda phage was around 49 kilo base pair in length. However, this is around 6.5 kb in length. That means 6,407 nucleotides in length. It is circular and it consists of single-stranded DNA, and it is being used as a cloning vector because its size is less than 10 kilo base pair in size. So this is appropriate to be used as a cloning vector. Then double-stranded replicative form of genome sometimes act as a plasmid. That means it is a single-stranded genome. Whenever it will replicate, double strand will form. At that time, it can act as a plasmid also. Then Third point, genes which will be cloned, they can be obtained in the form of single-stranded DNA, and it would be very useful if you go for the gene sequencing. That means the process will not be tedious. It would not be complex. Fourth point, it is very easy to prepare from the culture of infected E. coli cells. Because of the single-stranded circular genome of 6.4 kb, it can infect only F-positive bacteria. That means the bacteria containing the F plasmid, and it can clone the pieces up to 6 times as compared to the M13 genome. That means up to 36 kilobase pair of DNA can be inserted. But the main drawback is foreign DNA, because we are inserting large pieces of DNA. They sometimes their integration is not so stable. So this is the M13 phage based cloning vector. The size is 6.4. It consists basically in this 6.4 kb size. There are 10 closely packed genes that are necessary for the replication of phage. There is a single 507 nucleotide intergenic sequence, that is IS sequence, into which we can insert the new DNA. And the region will include the origin of replication also. This is very useful for sequencing, site directed mutagenesis experiment, and any other techniques that will require the single stranded DNA. This is basically the M13 structure, in which this is the G7 protein, G9 protein, 5 copies are present, G8 proteins, 2300 plus copies are present. This is G6P protein, G3B protein. And this G3B protein, we are basically use that thing in the phage display techniques also when we go for the selection. This is a complete life cycle, because we were basically saying it as its double replicative form can be used as plasmid, that we can use as cloning vector. So the starting point is single strand. SS strands means single strand. The infecting single strand circular viral DNA is first of all converted to double stranded replicative form by host encoding enzyme. As you can see, the double replicative form is formed. We can isolate this double replicative form for the cloning purpose, because at that time it would function as a plasmid. If you talk about the further replication process, then in that case, after several round of application through theta structures are forming, then the negative strand of replicating form will be transforming into viral messenger RNA. Then it will produce a nick. As you can see, there is a nick at the specific site. Then the progeny plus strand is synthesized continuously by the movement of the replication around the negative strand. And it by due to this complete circularization and rolling, this mechanism is known as rolling circle mechanism, and we have a progeny of positive strand, that too in the single stranded form. This is a complete lytic cycle, complete M13 life cycle, but our interest is this double replicative form that we isolate for cloning. However, M13 phages doesn't lyse the cell, as I told you that this is an exception. That means it won't get integrated into the host genome, but it would get replicated inside the host cell. It won't lyse the cell, but it will slow them down and it will be produced out of the cell in the single stranded form. So this is the lawn of E. coli, and these are the plaques, and these plaques would be formed. Now M13 based vectors, few examples. These are the few variants. The first vector that was developed was M13 MP1, in which the LAGZ gene was introduced in the intergenic sequence, and it does not have any unique restriction site in the gene. But because of some certain disadvantages, it was further improvised as M13 MP2. As you can see, the number is changed only. This is 1, this is 2. This vector was constructed in which the EcoR1 site in the LAGZ gene was inserted, because in the previous vector there were no restriction sites. So in the second class of vector, the EcoR1 restriction site was introduced, which was basically carried out by a single nucleotide change in a region. As you can see, this. In this case, this guanine was changed with the adenine, so that it can form the EcoR1 recognition site. Then further improvised vector was M13 MP7, which was further formed by inserting a polylinker. Polylinker means a region of DNA which will be containing large number of restriction sites for different restriction enzymes into the EcoR1 site of LAGZ gene. Polylinker, as you can see, a polylinker is a short nucleotide sequence that will consist of number of restriction sites, EcoR1, BAMH1, SAL1, PST1, and it will have a EcoR1 sticky ends also. This is the structure actually, M13 MP18. This is the lag Z region, into which, as you can see, this is the polylinker region. If you enlarge this version, there are many restriction sites: EcoR1, SAC1, KPN1, SMA, BAM, XBA, PST1, SPH, HINT3. And these are the different 10 closely packed genes that I was talking about. That the M13 genome, it consists of 10 closely packed 10 closely packed genes that are necessary for the replication. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are the 10 genes. This is the M13 MP8, which was engineered for alpha complementation. This is again the previous one, in which the polylinker cloning sites are being highlighted, 6229 to 6287, in which these are the restriction sites. And these are the genes under which there are different restriction sites also, which was inserted. Now, what are the advantages when we use bacteriophages vector, whether lambda, whether M13? The main advantage is we can use bacteriophage as cloning vector for cloning larger DNA segments, that is around 10 to 23 kb. And inherent size selection for large insert is possible. The main disadvantage is because we can accommodate large insert size, it is very difficult to handle sometimes. However, there are few uses also when you use lambda phages cloning vector for gene cloning of larger DNA fragments. That means for cloning of eukaryotic genes. This is very useful. It is it can be selected in a very sophisticated and in a very easy manner because the plaque formation would be there. We can clone lots and lots of precisely sized DNA segments, and we can easily construct a phage library also. And when you use M13 based cloning vector, because it is a single stranded DNA, it is very useful for sequencing and site directed mutagenesis experiments that we will be performing. So these are the few MCQs pertaining to the lecture which are already uploaded onto the LMS. Thank you.